Hi everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss about flotation. We know that when a body is completely or submerged or partially submerged inside a liquid, it experiences two kind of forces. Which are they? The weight of the body, which act vertically downwards through the center of gravity, and the second one, the upthrust, which is acting vertically upward through the center of buoyancy or center of gravity of the displaced liquid. Okay. So the weight has a tendency to make the object sink and the upthrust has a tendency to make the object float. Okay. Or else we can write it as weight of the body is equal to volume of the body into density of the body into acceleration due to gravity. Upthrust is equal to volume of the liquid displaced by the body into density of the liquid into acceleration due to gravity. Okay. And we know that according to the Archimedes principle, we studied that Fb is equal to weight of the water or liquid displaced. Okay. And we studied three conditions for sinking and floating. Let us revise once again. So depending upon the upthrust and weight, we have three different cases. Case 1, when the weight is greater than upthrust. What happens when the weight is greater than upthrust? The body will sink. What is the reason? The downward force is more comparing with the upthrust, or in terms of density we can tell that the density of the body is greater than the density of the liquid. So that's what the object could sink inside the liquid. That is our first condition. Case 2. What is case 2? When W is equal to buoyant force or upthrust. Okay. So what happens during this time? The body will be completely inside the water, but it is floating. Okay. So we can tell that the apparent weight experiencing is equal to 0. The apparent weight is 0. So the object will be completely immersed inside the liquid, but it is under floating condition. Or we can tell that the density of the liquid is equal to density of the body. Now case 3, what happens when W weight is less than upthrust? When weight is less than upthrust, what happens? This also body will float. Here also body will float. Only little bit part will be submerged inside the water. Or we can tell that the density of the body is less than density of the liquid. So most of the part will be above the liquid and only little bit part will be inside the liquid when weight is less than that of the buoyant force or upthrust. On the basis of these three conditions, we can state the law of flotation or principle of flotation as the weight of the floating body is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by it. Okay, so the entire weight of the body, according to the entire weight of the body or equivalent to that weight, the body, the water will be displaced. So we can tell that the liquid displaced will be equal to the entire weight of the body. So according to the weight only, the part will be, how much part will be submerged inside the liquid, that will be decided. So we can state it as the weight of the floating body is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by it. That is the principle of flotation. Now we will find out the relationship between the volume displaced and volume of the entire body. Now we will find out the relationship between the volume of the total volume of the body, the volume of the water displaced and the densities of body and the liquid. Okay. So just consider the weight of the body is equal to volume of the body into density of the body. I am just marking it as B. Okay. And acceleration due to gravity is constant. It's always common. Okay. Consider this as the first equation. And if we consider the upthrust, what is that? It is equal to the volume of the water displaced, or just we'll write it as L. Okay. And it's into density of the liquid into acceleration due to gravity. We know that according to flotation, we can write it as the weight of the body is equal to the upthrust. Okay, so we will equalize 1 is to first equation, second equation we will get it as volume of the body into density of the body into acceleration due to gravity is equal to volume of the liquid displaced into density of the liquid into acceleration due to gravity. If we take the ratio of volume of liquid to volume of the body, we can write it as VL by VB. Both G and G will cancel off. That is equal to rho B by rho L. Okay. So volume of liquid divided by entire volume of the body is equal to density of the body divided by density of the liquid. Just opposite. Liquid and volume of the liquid displaced and density of the liquid will come opposite way, and volume of the body and density of the body will come opposite. So this is the ratio which relates the density of liquid and body and the volume of the body and the volume of liquid displaced. We will discuss some of the application of principle of flotation. First one, flotation of iron ship. Okay, so we know that the nail which is made up of iron will sink inside the water. At the same time, the ship will float on the water. What's the reason for that? If you see the density wise, both nail and ship are made up of iron. The density of the iron is comparatively more than that of the water. Okay, but there is a small difference. Ship means inside the ship there are so many vacant compartments are there. It is filled with air. So if we calculate the average density of the ship, that will be less than that of the sea water. So the ship will float on the water. At the same time, the nail which is made up of iron will sink inside the water. Same way, the loaded ship will be submerged more inside the water. What happens during that time? I already mentioned that for a normal ship, more vacant space will be there. Loaded ship means the average density is increasing, or the weight which is acting downward direction is increasing. So as the weight increases, the average density increases comparatively. So depends upon that much weight, more part will be submerged inside the water. Same way, when the ship sails from sea to river water, the ship will submerge more inside the river water. What's the reason for that? We know that the sea water, the density is more comparing with the normal pure water or river water, right? So in the sea, the difference between the density change is more, so the ship will float more on the sea water. As it come inside the river water, the density of the water is just 1 gram per centimeter cube or 1000 kilogram per meter cube. So the change in density is getting reduced, so more part will be submerged. Okay, have you heard about the plimsoll line? It's a safety line which is marked on the boat and ship. Okay, so if it is a ship or something, just consider it as there will be a line marked. This is called plimsoll line. So it is advised that more than this plimsoll line we are not supposed to, if you are taking more weight inside or cargo, especially this is meant for cargo ship, if more weight we are keeping inside the ship, it should not exceed the plimsoll line. It's a safety line. Okay, so maximum only that much level or this much part should be inside the water. Or if it goes beyond the plimsoll line, there is a chance for sinking of the ship. Okay, so there is a limit should be there for the flotation. Little bit part should be above the water level for the safe journey. So plimsoll line is a safety line which is marked to keep or adjust the cargo in the ship. Same way, The unloaded ship is always filled with some sand inside the chambers. What's the reason for that? If nothing is there, maximum portion will be above the water and only little bit portion will be submerged inside the water. So for a journey in the sea, what happens when the wind comes? It loses its equilibrium, or to maintain the center of gravity to a stable position or maintain the equilibrium, the bottom part will be filled with the sand for the safe movement on the water. Second main application of principle of flotation is flotation of human body. That means the swimming on the water. So if we consider the average density of body, we have to consider the density of bone, density of blood, density of muscle, and even our lungs is filled with air. Okay. So all together, if we see the density, the average density of our body, it is slightly less than that of the water. So it's easy for us to swim upon the water or float. But most in normal water or river water, most part of our body will be submerged or it is inside the water. But if we come on the sea water, or if we come to the sea water for swimming, most of the part comparing with the river water, the density is completely filled with salt. Okay. So automatically the density of the salt water is higher than that of the river water. So the upthrust, the comparison between the average density of our body and the density of the water will be little bit more comparing with the river water. So most part of our body will be floating on the water. Okay. And what is the density of sea water? It is 1.02 gram per centimeter cube. For river water, it is 1 gram per centimeter cube. So this slight difference will little bit lift up our body above the water level. Have you heard about the Dead Sea? Dead Sea, very easily those who didn't know the swimming also can float it. What is the reason? Dead Sea, the content of sodium chloride is very high in that, and if we see the Dead Sea's level, it is 1.16 gram per centimeter cube. So see the difference, here it is only 0.02 gram and here it is 1.16. So most part of our body will be above the water. And our third point is flotation of submarines. What is submarines? Flotation of submarines. Who is using submarines? Actually, submarines is used by the navy of different countries. Okay. And the top of the submarines, most of the time it will be under the water. So for security reason, through a periscope, they can see whatever happens on the surface level. Okay, surface of the water. So for a submarine, just consider this is a submarine. The shape is not exactly, but just consider it as a submarine. So submarine will have two tanks. It is called ballast. Okay, so ballasted tank, and this is filled. It can be filled and it can made it as vacuum. So when it has to here the one periscope or something will be there. So if it has to come up on the surface of the water, they will vacuum this. They will drain out the water from the ballast, or we used to call it as flotation tank. Okay. Then whenever it want to go dive inside, it will be filled with the water. So depends upon that filling and making it vacant, the submarine can come up and dive inside the water. Fourth point is flotation of icebergs. Okay, so we know that the density of ice is 0.917 gram per centimeter cube. If we compare with the density of water, it is 1 gram per centimeter cube. There is a slight difference. Due to that slight difference, the ice will float on the water, but major part will be submerged inside the water. So in sea water, huge masses of ice that we used to call it as icebergs are found, but most or major part or 90% part will be submerged inside the water. Okay. So if we write in terms of volume, we can write it as the volume of submerged part divided by the total volume of iceberg is equal to density of ice divided by density of water. Okay, so we can write it as the volume of submerged part is equal to 0.917 divided by 1 into V. So 91.7% of the entire volume is submerged inside the water. Okay, so 91.7% is submerged inside the water as in the case of water. If through this way, if we find in terms of sea water, we can find it that 0.917 divided by 1.02 will be the value of sea water density. So if we do the calculation, we will get nearly 83.5% of the entire volume will be submerged inside the water. So the iceberg is really dangerous for the sailing of ship. So the captain or the driver of the ship sometimes may not be able to identify the size, huge size of the ship. Only little bit part will be upon the water. Balance is nearly 17% will be above the water, but inside size may not be able to identify. So due to that reason, actually that accident occurred for the Titanic. Okay, they couldn't identify the huge size of the iceberg which is inside the sea water. So it's really difficult to travel in between the icebergs. And one more factor, we know that the floating ice during the summer season, it can melt it, but it never make any change in the water level, because we know that when the ice melt, that expansion 0 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius, actually instead of expansion, the water will contract due to anomalous expansion and contraction. So when the iceberg melts, it never make any volume change and there won't be any increase in the water level in the sea. Now flotation of fish. We know that the fish can sink or rise on the water according to its will, right? No? How it is possible? The fish has a special organ called swim bladder. It's somewhat similar like the ballast. Okay. So whenever the fish want to come up on the surface, it diffuses the air or gas from the liquid to that bladder. So the average density will become less, so it can easily come up on the water. So whenever it want to go up, it taken out that or it will empty that bladder. So the average density will be greater than that of the water, so it can sink inside the water. So that swim bladder will help the fish to sink and rise upon the water. Last application is rising of balloons. When we fill the balloons with hydrogen or helium, what happens? When we leave it, it goes up, right? So it rises up. The reason is that the density of the helium and hydrogen is lesser than that of the air. So the upthrust acting on the helium or that hydrogen balloon is more. So it raises or it floats upon the air. But it never goes indefinitely. The reason is that as the height increases, the density, the quantity of air decreases. Okay, as the height increases, the density of air decreases. So at a particular height, the density of air will be equal to the density of hydrogen or density of helium. So only in that extent it will rises up. After that it will be stable on that position. It will be floating, but it never goes upward. Okay. So it will attain a position where the density of air is equal to density of hydrogen or density of helium. Till that height the balloon will rises. After that it will be floating on that particular height. So these are some of the applications which we used to see in our day-to-day life related with the principle of flotation. Try to find out more examples from your life or the day-to-day life examples. Thank you.